What's up, y'all? This is the Southeast Welding Academy. Today we're in the lab. My name is Shapard. I'm your AWS certified welding instructor. And today in this video, I'm going to be taking y'all over welding in the flat position. Welding in the flat position, also called 1G for groove welds and 1F for fillet welds, is the easiest and most stable welding position. The workpiece is placed so the weld joint is on top, and gravity helps the molten metal stay in the joint. When you hear welding in the flat position, this just means that the weld is performed from above. Okay, the weld pool settles naturally because gravity keeps it in the joint. Okay, it's used in most bench and shop fabrication scenarios. A couple advantages that you get from welding in a flat position will be the welding in a flat position is the easiest to learn, right? It's the fastest welding speed compared to vertical, overhead, and horizontal. Okay, your weld pool is easier to control compared to welding vertical, horizontal, and overhead. Okay, welding in the flat position allows for higher heat input without excessive sagging. Okay, and it also produces strong, consistent welds. When welding in the flat position, you want to make sure that you have at least up to a 10 to 15 degree drag angle. Okay, when you talking about your travel speed, or when you're thinking about your travel speed when welding in the flat position, you want to move fast enough to avoid a wide overheated bead. Okay, and you want to move slow enough to maintain good penetration. Okay, you want to have good arc length, right? You want to have, which for stick, you want to have a short arc length, right? So that you're not long arcing. Okay. Stringers are more commonly used for MIG and TIG. For MIG and stick. Okay. Weaving can be used on thicker metals for wider coverage. Okay, like hot passes. Okay. When you're done a flat weld, you will know it's a good flat weld if your weld comes out even with a uniform bead. You got smooth ripples, slight reinforcement but not too tall. You got good wetting into both sides of the joint, and you left no undercut or excessive spatter. A couple common joints that you can weld in the flat position will be butt joints, lap joints, T-joints or fillet welds, and groove welds. Now I'm going to show y'all a little bit on just welding in the flat position and how to weld in the flat position when you come in the lab. When you welding in the flat position, you just want to set up your workpiece to your waist or a little bit higher to your waist. It just don't make no sense for if you welding in a flat position to have your welding workpiece all the way up here, you know what I'm saying? So like my chest, you know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? Because then I would have to position my stinger and my electrode all the way up to be able to weld. Whereas if I kept it to my hip or to my waist, it would be way easier to just keep going. You know what I'm saying? So first thing you want to do when y'all come in the booth and get ready to start welding flat is fix your position, which is what I'm trying to do right now. So I'm gonna fix my position. That's it. That's why y'all keep y'all some steel toe on. That's also a good reason why you need to have your workpiece tap good. You gotta have a good tap on your workpiece so that it don't fall on your foot while you're welding. Okay. So I'm about to just tack my wheel real quick. I'm about to tack my workpiece down so while I'm welding it doesn't fall on my feet. I got my positioning where I can lane right here and run my straight grooves in the flat position straight up. Let me turn y'all. Tapping it down. That's cool. Okay. Now that I know she's not going to move anywhere, see that? Not going anywhere. Now I can practice running my feet. Okay, so y'all see I'm leaning. You can't really see it. I'm leaning right there. Y'all see me kind of do top start. Not really good at it. My rod gets short. I terminate my wheel. Rod. Don't leave y'all finger how you just seen me leave this thing. Please do not. Overall, welding in a flat position, welding in the flat position is the easiest position to learn. You got the fastest welding speed compared to vertical, overhead, and horizontal welding. Your weld pool is easy to control, okay, while welding flat. Welding flat allows for higher heat input without excessive sagging and produces strong, consistent beads, right? Consistent welds. Okay. So y'all, my phone died in the middle of that weld, right? But I'm gonna just show y'all what your plate should look like after you're finished welding flat, right? Practicing welding flat. Let's go over this real quick. Now y'all just about to see me keep practicing my beads. Well, not really just keep practicing. I'm really about to show y'all what it's supposed to look like. What your plate is supposed to look like. Okay? So I ain't do this bead right here, and then I'm gonna jump all the way over here and do one right here. I'm gonna go right next to this bead, okay? So I can use all of the metal, okay? As much metal as possible. That's just more practice for me. y'all need it back. That's what came off and it got uploaded. What I just did, a simple procedure, okay? A mandatory procedure when your arc, when you stop your arc, okay? When you terminate your arc, you break the slag off and you clean your weld before you restrike your arc, okay? So you can be able to see. You practice not leaving your puddle. You can practice oscillation, doing the flat position. You practice your travel speed. You can practice different current types. Okay? But really, while you're practicing welding in the flat position, you can practice oscillation, practice your travel speed, and practice how to read your puddle. When to know when to move. How to know when you're sitting too long. How to know when you're moving too fast. Okay, it's all in the lip of your puddle. Okay, sometimes you can hear when you're long arcing. You know, you'll be able to see everything. You can see and hear everything. It should sound like when you're welding. It should sound like somebody making bacon. Literally, it should sound like somebody making bacon. Okay. Hold on, let me show y'all something real quick. Look at that slag pill. Look at that slag pill, baby. Crack that one off real quick. To my phone diagram. Y'all see that? This is how you practice your beads in a flat position. Stack them right next to each other, right? What that does is you practicing tie-ins also. Look at that tie-in, right? Another thing you're doing is you just getting a lot more space for you to keep practicing your beads. This is what your plate should look like when you're practicing welding flat. Okay? Y'all. Use a little welder. Look at that slag pill. Y'all see that? So like I said, while you welding flat, you could just practice on many things just because welding flat is very easy. You know, once you get the hang of welding period. See, you can practice your restarts. You see, I messed up on my restart right there. I left a little crater or a little dent, you know. Yeah, you can practice your restarts. You can practice your overall straightness. You can practice your travel speed. You can practice your penetration. You know, it's just multiple things you can practice. Okay, you could practice your bead pattern. You know. That just comes from different types of oscillation, with different types of oscillations and different types of techniques. And yeah. keep running until your plate is completely full with beads, and that's your practice. Okay, that's basically how you practice welding in the flat position. Okay, the more you burn, the more you learn, the more you know, the more you learn. Once y'all got this down pat, that's when you move to vertical. You need to know how to do flat. You need to know how to do vertical. You know what I'm saying? The fundamentals. Keeping the 1/8 or keeping the diameter, keeping the 1/8 in this case. So this is a 1/8 inch rod. Keeping that 1/8 inch gap from the plate to keep your arc still lit. You know what I'm saying? The travel speed. We learned about the welding defect, how to keep this puddle. You know what I'm saying? So you really need the flat position just for the fundamentals. Okay? This is the position that you should be using to practice. Okay? To get ready for every other position that you're about to do. Such as vertical. Excuse me, class. This is going to be a real probably fast video because my phone just kept dying. But let me show y'all the concept and what y'all, I told y'all the concept of your, what your beads and what you're supposed to be focusing on when you're really welding flat in the flat position. What you're really supposed to be practicing on, which is your travel speed. You know what I'm saying? Practice reading, knowing how to read your puddle, how to move your puddle, and knowing when to move your puddle. Really, that falls on travel speed too. Knowing when you're going too slow and going too fast. That's just reading your puddle. Basically, just learning. You need the flat position to learn the fundamentals of welding. Period. Okay, so striking your arc. You know what I'm saying? Striking your arc. Practice striking your arc. Practice your overall bead straightness. You can practice tying in your wheels. Practice keeping your arc on, arc lit. Period. A lot of people that just come in and start welding don't know how to keep their rod on. So practicing the flat welding position will help with that. Yeah, your current, your travel speed, your overall straightness, the height and the width of your stringers. You can practice the oscillation. There's many different things, right, that you can practice on your flat position. Then you can practice on your vertical or horizontal or overhead. Okay? The flat position is really, really, really good for practice. Okay? Now let me show y'all mine. This is my plate where I was welding flat. I started at the bottom and went to the top. You see how close I got them? Those are tie-ins. So I practice my overall straightness, my tie-ins. I could have did better on my restarts. I practiced my restarts. I could have did better on my restarts. Okay. But overall, just now, I practiced my overall straightness, my tie-ins, and my restarts. Okay. When you're welding flat, you can come in and focus on, one day I apologize. One day I might come in today, and practice on my overall straightness and my restarts. And then tomorrow I come in, and then once I got my overall straightness and my restarts down pat, the next day when I come in to practice flats, I will practice on my tie-ins and say my height or my oscillation, my oscillation and my what did I just say? And my tie-ins, my oscillation and tie-ins. Okay, this is just an example. Okay, because the flat position, I'm gonna say it again, the flat position is a really good position to practice welding. Period. Okay, and yeah, this is how you want your plate to look. This is how you would want your plate to look when practicing flat, when practicing your beads in the flat position. You would want to just look at, you would just want your plate to look like this all the way across. That way I'm not leaving no space, you know what I'm saying, unfilled, and I could get full practice, you know what I'm saying. Whereas if I'm doing this line right here, they're doing a line right here, they're doing a line right, you know what I'm saying. I gotta fill it in and get more practice with filling in all the gaps. Okay. That's it for welding in the flat position today. This is the Southeast Welding Academy. My name is Wisdom Shapard. I am your AWS certified welding instructor, and that's it for this video. Peace.